The United States said it has assurances from the Taliban that evacuations of Afghans who want to leave the country can continue after President Biden's deadline of August 31. But the Taliban continue to harass and impede passage throughout Kabul. Even with more evacuation flights out, throngs of people desperate to flee keep coming. President Joe Biden sought to reassure the U.S. on the dramatic evacuation from Afghanistan, promising no Americans would be abandoned. Let's listen in.
We're going to do everything that we can to provide safe evacuation for our Afghan allies, partners, and Afghans who might be targeted because of their association with the United States. But let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home. But make no mistake, this evacuation mission is dangerous. It involves risks to our armed forces, and it's being conducted under difficult circumstances. I cannot promise what the final outcome will be, or what it will be, that it will be without risk of loss. But as Commander-in-Chief, I can assure you that I will mobilize every resource necessary. We made clear to the Taliban that any attack on our forces or disruption of our operations at the airport will be met with swift and forceful response. We're also keeping a close watch on any potential terrorist threat at or around the airport, including from the ISIS affiliates in Afghanistan who were released from prison when the prisons were emptied. We're also trying to get out as many NGOs, non-government organizations, women's organizations, et cetera. We're doing all we can. In the meantime, Secretary Blinken and I am going to be working with our allies to see to it that we can bring international pressure on the Taliban they're looking to gain some legitimacy. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to maintain that country. And there's going to be harsh conditions, strong conditions we're going to apply, and it will depend on whether they get help based on whether or not how and well they treat women and girls, how they treat their citizens.
Why haven't you ordered the military to expand the security perimeter around the Kabul airport? Do you have any plans to do so, given that will likely require more U.S. troops? And are you considering rescue operations to recover Americans and Afghan allies stuck behind Taliban checkpoints?
The answer is yes to the last question. We're considering every opportunity and every means by which we could get folks to the airport. That's number one. Number two, the reason why we have not gone out and started and set up a perimeter way outside the airport in Kabul is that it's likely to draw an awful lot of unintended consequences in terms of people who, in fact, are not part of the Taliban. We've been in constant contact with the Taliban leadership on the ground in Kabul, as well as the Taliban leadership at Dahou.
Still, the scene around Kabul's airport remains chaotic and dangerous, despite the thousands of U.S. troops now deployed to secure it. And many people trying to flee the country are simply unable to make it to the tarmac to be evacuated. 6 days after the Taliban took back power in Afghanistan, the flow of people trying to flee their feared hardline Islamist rule continued to overwhelm the international community. Traffic, people, and checkpoints choked roads to the airport, while families hoping for a miracle escape crowded between the barbed wire surrounds of an unofficial no man's land separating the Taliban from U.S. troops and remnants of an Afghan Special Forces brigade helping them. Video of a U.S. soldier lifting a baby over a wall at Kabul's airport offered the latest tragic imagery of this utter despair following horror footage of people hanging onto the outside of departing planes. Now, President Biden had set a deadline of August 31st to completely withdraw all troops from Afghanistan, but he flagged this could be extended to continue the airlifts. The White House said about 13,000 people have left on American military aircraft. Thousands of others have fled on other foreign military flights.